Joe's mates in the village started making fun of him because he has become a school dropout, doing odd jobs. They were previously envious of Joe because he lived in the city. Joe would always come back home in his father's car, neatly and beautifully dressed, unlike the case of their dirty clothes that is always hanging on their backs. Joe carried himself back then with maturity and dignity, and that was what angered his mates that are now mocking him. While Joe didn't mind or bother himself about his mates' mockery, his little brother always cried himself to sleep because of the insults his brother gets from others. 6 months after the fallout with their uncle, Mr. Pius saw that they were determined children who will not allow their present predicament define them. He became really envious of his brother's children and started seeking for means to break them. Mr. Pius then went to his childhood friend, who was as evil-hearted as him. They decided they were going to call them before their kinsmen and tear them apart. On the appointed day, Joe and Ken were summoned by their expanded relatives, who told them they were too young to start living alone. They made a decision on their behalf. Ken, the eldest man, started, "You will go to your distant relative Emma, who lives in the city with his family. You will be a house help to them. That way, they will look after you." Ken stood up immediately from the bench, opened his mouth to talk, but nothing came out except hot tears. "Joe," continued the elderly man, "you will go to your maternal uncle and live with him. He will teach you trading." Ken finally got up and said, "With all due respect, my elders, we are going nowhere. We have not for once complained to any of you here of our struggles." "What is all these, if I may ask? The maternal uncle you're talking about? Is it the one that is bothered to know how his late sister's children are faring since the demise of his sister and brother-in-law?" One of the elders got up and shouted on Ken to keep quiet. All these while, Joe has said nothing. He was thinking, calculating seriously in his mind the best answer to give to these conspirators of elders who were out to separate him from his little brother. Of course, Joe knew it was Uncle Pius doing. "Shut up, you this boy!" The elder continued with Ken. "Shut up, you rat! You have no father to cater for you." The elder continued, visibly angry at Ken. Joe gets up immediately and shocked everyone with what he said next. "Ken has a father," Joe said calmly but with all seriousness he could muster. Everybody, including Ken, turned to look at Joe. He was unfazed. Pius said to Joe, "You say what?" Eyes wide in surprise. "Ken has what?" "A father," Joe responded. Pius asked Joe, "Who?" Joe responded, "I am Ken's father." Everybody opened their mouths in amazement. Joe said it again, "I am Ken's father. I am taking over from where his father stopped. And that is that. Thank you, my elders. I guess we can go now. Ken, let's go." The two boys walked away. Another of the elders said, "Leave them alone. They will suffer." All the elders walked away from the meeting with many wondering how Charlie raised his children to be this bold, wise, and determined. To take their destinies into their very own hands. Mr. Pius was very shocked at the children's boldness and wisdom. It dawned on him he may never be able to destroy his brother's children. He secretly wished his children were like Ken and Joe. From that moment, his resentment for Joe and Ken was at all-time high. Ken continued with his academics, while Joe sustained both of them with his menial jobs he engages on. Joe still doubled his effort and earns also from the marketplace where he carries people's goods from place to place. Ken was doing impressively well in school. He thought of how he could be of help to his brother, his dad. He knew his brother will never allow him do anything apart from reading his books. He devised a means. Immediately, he comes back from school. He rushes to a restaurant close to them and washes plate for them, for pay and food. Whenever Joe asks him where he brought food from, he would always say a friend brought for him from home. As for the stipend he receives for washing plates, Ken puts it in his brother's pocket and Joe uses the money, thinking it was his. Life continued for them this way. After 4 years, Ken graduated from secondary school and gained admission into the university.